Hey guys, so I just posted a video recently on the my review of the M1X Striker by Olight, and I know I had referenced tremendously the Fenix PD32 light, and I just realized, you know what, I'm not going to be that lazy, and I'm going to go ahead and grab the PD32 from my bag and just quickly show you all the differences. I'm sorry for the poor lighting in here, but this isn't going to be a long video, so if this might interest you, I know that the PD32, I believe it's been off the market for some time now. Maybe you can still get some. Maybe they're still producing it, but I don't ever see them advertised anywhere anymore. As I said, I've had this light, which is the light on the right-hand side, for 5 years or so now, and I've just recently replaced it with the M1X Striker by Olight, which is on the left-hand side. The first thing that I want people to notice is the obvious differences, which is the size difference, the length difference. Now, both these lights are single 18650 cell lights. But you can tell that clearly the Olight is almost a ½ inch longer than the PD32 is by Fenix. You can also tell that the positions of their pocket clips are very different as well. The pocket clip on the Olight M1X Striker on the left-hand side gives you a much deeper carry than the pocket clip on the PD32. And in my years of carrying the PD32, I can tell you that I've had it fall out because of its pocket clip a couple times versus the Olight, which has never even come close to falling out of my pocket before. So hands down, the Olight wins in the pocket clip comparison category. Something else that I want people to notice real quick, I'm going to just briefly touch on certain things. I had mentioned the knurling on both of the lights and how I preferred the knurling on the PD32 to the M1X Striker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my little K18 pocket light real quick, and I'm going to put it on both these lights, and I want to bring something to y'all's attention real quick. So on the left-hand side, you can see all the really nice checkering on the Olight, but it is slick as ice, the surfaces, all the way to the tail cap. The knurling on the PD32 is more aggressive. It's obviously more aggressive, especially in the hand. And even from the way it looks, you should be able to tell that the rivets are a bit deeper on the PD32 than they are on the M1X. The other thing that I want people to see as well is that the Olight M1X tail cap is completely exposed. Now I have the PD32 turned to the right, and I'm going to show you when I turn the light here, reach in and turn the light. They've designed the body of the light on the PD32, and there are other lights similar to its design as well, that actually have protruding pieces of aluminum of the body around the tail cap, and this could potentially help from an accidental on, for example, because it becomes more difficult to press that light in with a flush surface. Whoops. When you are surrounded by aluminum body that way, versus the Olight, which, I mean, obviously the entire thing is going to be a turn on if it touches any part of your clothing, or there's any kind of pressure at all. There's nothing stopping it from being turned on. The other thing I wanted to demonstrate to you guys was the differences in the buttons, the side switch buttons. I know I had mentioned that on the Olight, for example, it's got a very slick, very cool looking side cap button here, side switch rather, but I keep my clip purposely pointed to the button all the time, just because it would be very difficult to find this and almost impossible with gloves on or at night for whatever reason. I do the same thing with my clip on the PD32. It points to the button, but you can see it's about twice as large, and it's rubberized. So even though mine's worn down now from the years of use, at night it is very easily, when I'm fiddling around with the light, to find that rubber button. As soon as the texture changes, I know that, hey, this is where the button is. At the same time, going back to the advantages of the lights, I can tell you that the swivel on this pocket clip is far looser than the swivel on the M1X. So again, just higher praise for the pocket clip, which is one of the most important attributes for me in an EDC light. You can also tell that the bezel is slightly crenellated on the PD32. I'm going to pick it up just a little bit here so you can get a better look at it there. Just barely. So obviously the bezel, the crenellated bezel on the M1X Striker is significantly more crenellated and aggressive, and I would think could impose significantly more damage, God forbid, in the event that you actually needed to use one of these lights to defend yourself. what I wanted to do as well is I'm not going to show extended beam shots, but I do want to place both lights on the table. I already have them both put on maximum mode for output. Now, the PD32, at the time it came out, it was a lot of lumens, but I think it maxes out at around 340. I know it's no more than 360. I'm almost positive it's 340 lumens at the time. And then, you know, of course, with technology changing the way it does, I've got a much more modern LED in the M1X, and it just produces far more output. I mean, you've got about 3 times the output at 1,000 lumens, maximum output with the M1X. But I just want to show you the differences in the beams. In the previous video, I had mentioned that the PD32 has a significantly more focused hotspot, even though it has less intensity according to the stats. And I also mentioned that the bezel being so crenellated on the M1X creates a bit of a crown, in fact, a really large crown in its beam that could potentially bother people. I know I'm not crazy about it, but needless to say, we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump right into it. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off my little light that I'm using right now to give you all a better visual. And I am going to pick up both lights, and I am going to start with the PD32. Okay. If you can see on the table on maximum output, okay, I mean, it is just a circle of light, obviously, because I'm only inches away from the table here. Now what I'm going to do is turn on the Olight, approximately the same distance away, and even from just a few inches away, I'm sure you can see the crowning from the bezel. It's not a perfectly circled beam. That crowning becomes infinitely more apparent as the beams move out. That's what I was referring to when I said that if you can imagine just how large those gaps in the crenellation become of darkness, it can really affect your peripheral light with the M1X, and that's something that I definitely wish was a bit better on the M1X Striker as well. But all in all, they're both great lights. They're in some ways, I still prefer the PD32 over the M1X. And then in some ways, obviously, like being able to get to turbo fast and having a moonlight mode on the M1X Striker, I really have preferred the Olight as well. Just my 2 cents on these two lights. In the event that anyone may have these two lights or maybe questioning the M1X or maybe has a PD32 as a reference point as well, I hope this video was helpful for you guys. There are videos dealing with other lights on our channel. Feel free to check them out. If you guys have any questions about anything, feel free to leave a comment. And if there are other lights that you guys might be interested in, please let me know. Again, you can leave those in the comments or what have you. And if I can get my hands on one, I would absolutely love to do a video for you guys. Thanks so much. Stay safe. May God bless.